Yo guys, MW3 just dropped and I want to give you guys the best settings to succeed for controller players and if you're on console. So here you go. Here are the best settings for getting nukes, getting high kill games. Here's the way to do it. So for controller, I personally flipped L1 and L2 and R1/R2. That's just how I play, but it's personal preference really. Stick layout, default, controller vibration off, because I find vibration takes away from my aiming and all that. For dead zones, it's again dependent on the controller and how much stick drift you have, but I do 3 to 99 and then 5 to 99 for right stick, and for L2 and R2 I do 0. Now for aiming, I have a 6/6 sensitivity for vertical and horizontal. That's just the best way for me to play, but again it's dependent, but most of the pros use 6/6, so that's what I use. Now for aim response curve type, I choose dynamic instead of standard because dynamic gives the most aim assist. For whatever reason over the past few years in Call of Duty, that's been the case, and also in the beta for this game I tested it out, and yeah, dynamic definitely gave you the most aim assist. These settings don't really matter that much. I think they're default instant on for here, aim assist obviously on, aim assist type default. So for the gameplay side of things, for movement behaviors, I choose default, and then tactical sprint behavior, I choose single tap run, which basically makes it so that when you press into your left joystick the first time when moving forward, you'll automatically be put into tactical sprint, so you can transition from walking to tactical sprint instantly instead of having to go from walking to sprint to tactical sprint. It's really good for getting around the map way quicker, and it's the best setting to move around the map way faster. Alongside that, we put grounded mantle on, automatic airborne mantle partial. This is off. The slide/die behavior is probably the most important movement setting alongside tactical sprint behavior. I put it to slide only, because basically what it does is it disables dolphin diving, which you would think is bad, but if you have sliding and dolphin diving, it makes it so that when you slide, there's like a 100 millisecond delay when first sliding, so you're not going to slide immediately. But with dolphin diving off, it knows to go to slide immediately, so you instantly slide instead of there being a delay. So that's why I have that slide only. Plunging out of water, I do free. There are a few maps with water, but for the maps with water, you're going to want to do free. Parachute auto deploy, that's only really applicable to ground war and Warzone, but I choose off. Sprinting DoorDash on. Ledge climb behavior mantle only, make sure to do that. Now for combat behaviors, everything's pretty standard here. Interact/reload behavior, I choose prioritize interact because I just want to pick up weapons more easily and open doors way quicker than if I were to have to hold it, so that's why I choose that, but some people like the other way around, so if you do, then feel free to do that. So now for graphics, I have on-demand texture streaming on. Basically it makes the graphics look way better, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't make you lose frames or lose any of that stuff unless you're on a really bad connection. In that case you're going to want to turn it off, but for me it works fine on. World motion blur obviously off, all the blurs off. Film grain, make sure it's 0. Depth of field off, and fidelity cast is basically the sharpness of your image, so I choose 50 because that's a good balance between it being way too sharp and then it being too blurry at 0. So that's why I do that. Obviously if your system supports 120 Hz, then put that on to get more frames. Now field of view, I actually do 103, so you can see more of the map, more of your surroundings. For your camera movement, put it to at least 50% for how shaky it is, so that way you're not going to get like motion sick or anything. Inverted flashbang, put that on because unless you want your flashbangs to blind you and be really white, it can be black, so you're not going to be literally flashbanged from a flashbang in the game. For brightness, I'm actually putting it at 50, and it's really dependent on your monitor setup, how your game is looking to you, but I like it a little bit brighter, and for me it says barely visible here, but I can see it like pretty clearly, which I like because you want to see people if they're hiding in dark corners. Now audio settings, these are also really important. Now for audio mix, I personally use a headphone, so I use headphone bass boost. That's also been a really good setting for the past few Call of Duty games, and in this game it's no different, so make sure to choose that. Now master volume, obviously you want the game to be loud at 100, but if you want to play competitively and really go for high kill streaks, nukes, whatever, you're going to want to put music volume down when you're in the game, dialogue volume a little bit down, effects volume 100 to know if there are gunshots, footsteps, all that, voice chat volume a little bit down to 50, and cinematic music volume to 30. For voice chat, these should be the default, so bang. Now for microphone, you might want to make your microphone level a little bit higher than the default at 50, I'm pretty sure, because then your teammates can hear you better. Just toy around with it a little bit and then it should sound comfortable. Subtitles, I do default where there's nothing because I don't want subtitles get in the way of my gameplay in multiplayer. Okay, now we go to interface. So subtitles off, all that stuff should be off or defaulted. Minimap shape, square, so you can see more on the map around you, and you can see where the players are if they're shooting on the radar. Minimap rotation, I like it on. That's just how I grew up playing. Now horizontal compass you want to turn off because the compass doesn't give you any more information that you don't have from the minimap. So I just put it off to make sure that there's more clarity in my game and there's not a whole compass blocking the top part of the screen. Crosshairs I do static, so it's not going all over the place when you're moving. These should all be default as well. Now server latency, packet loss, clock, connection meter. I personally don't like seeing them in gameplay because I find those distract me, but if you guys want to put them on, then feel free to. And yeah, that was everything. So hopefully you guys drop some great gameplays, whatever you're trying to do. Hopefully these settings help you out. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace.